comrades. Okay, so today I wanted to talk about something that happened here recently. Basically what happened was the Norwegian black metal band Taake was supposed to tour Australia in early February. And basically what happened was the tour has been cancelled within a few weeks of the show happening, and the promoter, Southern Extremities Tour, has said, look, for reasons beyond our control, the tour has been cancelled and it won't be happening, okay? Basically what happened was a couple of the venues that had people complain to them about the band's history. They've had a few controversies in the past, and they've basically been accused of being Nazis. So yeah, obviously this is something that's pretty bad, and the venues didn't take it well. So two of the venues in the four-show tour cancelled. They couldn't find other venues within time to have the shows. The promoters just decided to cancel it outright. And so I thought I'd dive in today to have a look at this and see why this is happening and what was going on. So basically the band's singer and frontman Host, he's the one who's based in, the most of the Nazis' accusations have been aimed at him. Basically says, in 2007 they did a show in Essen in Germany where Host performed with a swastika painted on his chest. And in Germany, displaying the swastika is forbidden by law, and the remainder of their German concerts were cancelled. Now, Host responded to this controversy. He released a statement saying that Taake is not a political Nazi band. Everyone should know by now that our whole concept is built upon provocation and anything evil. We truly apologise to all of our collaborators who might get problems because of the Essen swastika scandal. Except for the Ubermensch owner of that club, you can go suck a Muslim. Okay, so a lot of people have taken issue with the fact that, he performed the swastika on his chest. But one of the things with black metal is it's always been about based imagery. It's meant to shock and offend people and push the boundaries of what's socially acceptable and things like that. And things like, the satanic cross and pentagrams and stuff don't really offend people anymore. So I guess Host decided, to take it to the next big thing, which was the swastika. He called the promoter an Ubermensch, which is a derogatory term used by the Nazis to denote people they believed to be subhuman, i.e. people who were Jewish. But that was also a part of Friedrich Nietzsche's philosophy, referring to an underman, which is a man who's basically a sheep and doesn't question the moral code of the status quo within society. He just, goes along with the flow, and he's someone who's, inferior, mentally and morally, and, so yeah, you can see it either way. It's going to use, an insult either way. And the whole thing about sucking a Muslim, which is, I don't really think to me, it's not really offensive so much as it's embarrassing, because it's kind of a really lame, childish attempt at insulting someone and trying to be edgy. It's something you'd expect from a 14-year-old, not a grown man who's a professional musician. So going along with that, Taake have been known to have anti-Islamic imagery and lyrics within their music. Which is for some, it has been an indicator of Islamophobia within the band anti-Islam sentiments. But it's not really an anti-Islamic or Islamophobic sort of thing, so much as it is just anti-religious stance in general. Black metal is infamous for being really opposed to religion and religious systems, and Judeo-Christianity particularly has been the subject of attack, and a lot of the lyrics, a lot of social commentary of the bands, and a lot of their imagery, has been based around that. So that's a pretty normal thing within black metal, and so I think it's from the band's position sort of thing. It was attack on the whole religious aspect of it, of the hypocrisy and stuff, and how they perceive religion to be ultimately a negative thing. That's for sheep and stuff like that. And yeah, that also goes along with the whole provoking people of shocking lyrics and imagery and that, and celebrating evil, as it were, because that's the whole, black metal is a pretty dark and evil sound. It deals with a whole lot of dark and evil imagery and lyrical content. Now, Taake had their 2018 US tour cancelled due to the Essen incident, but they performed in Australia a few years ago on that exact tour with no controversy. The tour went off in Australia without a hitch. And a friend of mine was at the show, and he said, it was basically what you'd expect from a normal black metal show. It wasn't like a Nuremberg rally or anything like that. And that it was fine, and that the singer Host even wore a boomerang in his belt, a gun, as you guess you could say it was a show of solidarity with Aboriginal people sort of thing. Apparently the opening band called Taake, I don't know any idea how to explain it, but yeah, apparently they have a history of being actual Nazis, and that, that they've been posting photos online on social media of them wearing Nazi paraphernalia, and the band's leader, has openly discussed his association with National Socialism and being a Nazi and stuff like that. So, yeah, so from what I've read about them, it definitely sounds like they are a Nazi band, but like I'm not going to focus on them very much because they're just the opening band. They can easily be replaced with someone else, and it doesn't really matter that much. But Taake with the band that was the 2 or 4, and they're the ones that really matters. That's what I really want to focus on here. So yeah, looking back at this situation, a bit of controversy that's came from it. I don't. Taake are not a new band. They've been around since 1993. So looking at this, it's like, okay, this is all a controversy that, big controversial moments I could find online within, like, their entire history of, like, almost, like, 30 years now. It's okay, that's not really that much, is it? So can we really say, do we know definitely, can we actually say that these guys are Nazis and they're racist and stuff because of these things that have happened? And I don't think, if we want to be rational and objective, so I don't think we can really go that far and say this is what they are and everything because of that. Because, everything I just told you then has an explanation for it as to why that's the case. And I think they're pretty reasonable explanations too. Like, they're not someone, like, reaching or just, like, making shit up to be apologetic or anything like that. So, yeah. So when we criticize things, I think we have to sit back and criticize things in good faith. We always need to be able and willing to give people the benefit of the doubt and make sure we have actual, like, real hard evidence, sufficient evidence as well, and good reasons to want to cancel a band's tour and, like, basically deplatform a band, stop them from touring, and not blow things out of proportion, which sometimes can often happen. And I can understand how to someone who's like an outsider, like especially within the outside the metal community and black metal especially, how this could like look bad to them. These couple of things, but it's like not really a whole load of stuff there. And yeah, so I think for the promoters, them to cancel it, I think there's the promoters, like actual venues as well, like cancel the show because of that is like I can understand why they would. But then again, they need to look into things and just not take it on people's, accusations sort of thing. And like really, I think the venues here have really jumped the gun a bit, and they've kind of like misconstrued things and gotten the wrong impression over what is like what Taake, who are they are, their history and everything, and what has happened. But that's not to say that I don't think Nazis should be deplatformed within the metal community. That we should like kick them off tours, cancel their shows, and basically deny them a platform to spread their message. Because look, hey, they're pretty shitty people. National Socialism is its entire message is bound around racial hatred and promoting genocide of undesirables. People based on their race, ethnicity, political affiliation, sexuality, their mental health, disability and stuff like that. Like I think like 11 million people were killed during the Holocaust. There's like 6 million Jews and then 5 million other people. This is the kind of thing these people believe in, You don't want these people in your community. No decent, sane person would want these people in the same community or same subculture they're in. And yes, metal does have a problem with Nazis and fascism within its community. National Socialist black metal is an actual genre of music to keep how widespread it is in some circles. And a lot of metalheads kind of like turn away from this, pretend it doesn't exist, ignore it, pretend it doesn't happen because they don't want to be seen as unmetal or antisocial or a bit of a buzzkill and not have people think they're cool and stuff like that. But these are people who are promoting literal fucking genocide. There's guaranteed to be, most people, someone that they would have an issue with, that they would want to take off to the death camps. Like, do you really want to hang around people like that or have them hanging around in your community? So I think it's something we need to be vigilant for in our communities, our subcultural groups, and look out for. They don't just exist within like a metal sphere. They exist, within our larger society, and it happens to be that some Nazis and fascists or whatever listen to metal. Just like, they play role-playing games, they get into cosplay, they do stamp collecting, they play soccer, they, all sorts of things, So it's not a problem within metal itself, but the larger community. But within our own subcultural group, within the metal community, I think we need to take more of an effort and be more vigilant, take more of a considered effort to look out for these sort of things and basically like moderate and sort of like control our own community sort of thing. Not to the whole thing of, we want to silence other people, different political views or opinions, but we just don't want to hang around people that, want to promote hate and, advocate for genocide and, Yeah, treating people they don't like as basically subhuman or second-class citizens. People who aren't fans of democracy, they're not fans of freedom of speech, despite despite the fact they whinge about their freedom of speech whenever someone, censors them. Because one of the very first things the Nazis did when they get power was got rid of freedom of speech. Freedom of speech, I should say. And one of the things they will always do when given the opportunity is fascists and Nazis will use the mechanisms of democracy against democracy itself. So that's something we need to be mindful of as well. But all things considered, I think the metal community is fairly good at monitoring itself for this sort of stuff. I know a lot of people, that don't listen to National Socialist black metal, don't support those bands, or don't buy their merch, or haven't bought their albums and stuff. There's been a few times where bands have actually, other bands, have, quit and got themselves off bills for festivals because they know that they've learnt that these sorts of bands are actually playing on the tour. Sodom did it a couple of years ago, but again, there was a massive backlash when Sodom did that. Because they didn't want to play on a festival when Nazis were playing, there was a lot of people in the comments section, on the Facebook comments especially, who were saying how, it was a pussy move of Sodom to do that. They're anti-freedom of speech and stuff like that, that they're basically being pussies. Or who would have thought that the mighty Sodom, would have an issue with people with different political opinions when they've always had political songs, blah, blah, blah. It's but yeah, have you ever listened to Sodom's music? A lot of they do have quite a, bit of an anti-war sort of stance, and, congratulations for a band having a moral stance and looking at something beyond the music, Because, we love music, we love to have fun listening, I don't want to take away from that. The most important thing about music is, the music, enjoying music with good friends, listening to good tunes and stuff like that, and enjoying a show, and just not having to worry about, the problems of the world, which is this is one of those things. But, as with everything, a lot of the aspects of life are political, and music being an art form is quite political in itself. So I think within that, there's always going to be a bit of that sort of, critique sort of thing that we have to do just because of the thing that pops up, I think it's just something we need to, keep in mind as a community and call this shit out when we see it and call these people out and basically expose them for who they are sort of thing. And just, not having anything to do with those sort of bands, those sort of people. Not advocating or promoting or supporting these bands. Having some sort of, moral code and fibre that it comes to when we listen to our music, who we hang around with, what music we listen to, what bands we go see, who we support, and things like that. Anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say about that. I just wanted to provide a bit of commentary, my thoughts about it. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. If you like this video, hit like, subscribe. Every sub I get helps. I'm hoping to expand this channel quite a lot. Even though it's just early days now, I'm still learning how to do everything. Anyway, yeah. Thanks a lot. I'll see you later. I have a new video in a couple of days. Thanks for listening.